Ty Bartell, Anthony Hartwig with another edition of Coach's Corner. This time we go into the NE8 with the South Range girls basketball head coach, Mr. Coach Jeff Fishel. How we doing today, Coach?
Good guys, good to see you, and appreciate you having me on as always.
We appreciate your time as always. Coach, I always like to start off with a question about practices. They're happening right now. You got a few under your belt. What are things looking like in practice? What's standing out to you?
We're really in what I'll call experimental mode, kind of discovery mode, trying some new things. And I've told the girls that they've got to be patient with me because we're working on some new stuff, and I looking to find out what works for us. And I told them there's stuff that we're going to spend time on, and then we're going to see it in scrimmages and not like it, and we're going to crinkle it up and throw it in the trash can and do something different. So every day's sort of been a science experiment for us, trying to figure out what we're good at and try to enhance our strengths and kind of correct our weaknesses. So we're getting there, and we can do that because I'm really happy with our off season, and I wouldn't say we're light years ahead of where we were this time last year, but we're definitely ahead of where we were last year. So gives us some time to kind of work on some things.
I'm sure the answer to this question might change even by game one. But right now, if you had to say, things that you think this team is going to be really good at, things that you can see that are going to be strengths of this team right now, in the way you have set it up, what would you think in the first couple practices you've already seen in the summers?
Well, we're trying to be up tempo, and I think that's been the theme that I've talked to a lot of coaches that they say they want to play faster, and that's a hard thing to do. And one of the things that we've really focused on this year is in the past years, our defense has been really good, but we struggled to win games last year because we couldn't score. Our defense kept us in games, but we weren't able to score enough to win. So we've had a lot more focus on offense at practice this year, trying to be up tempo, trying to be in the right spots and cut to the basket and run the floor and then try to get easy points, which everybody wants to do. And it's a lot easier said than done, but we've had a big focus on that. So hopefully, we come out and you see us putting the ball in the basket a little bit more.
Obviously, Poland has been tops of this conference for the last few years. They're tough to knock off, but the whole conference in itself is a very tough conference. Where do you feel the Raiders fit in with this conference, and what's it going to take for you guys to be competing for the crown?
Yeah, it's another year where the NE8 is going to be really competitive. Obviously, I say it every year until somebody figures out Poland, they're at the top and they're the favorites. But it's going to be an interesting year. Obviously Jefferson's gone, and certainly wish Coach Furman and his girls good luck this season. They're actually going to come down next Saturday for a scrimmage, so they'll get to see them. But Coach Bull at Niles has things going the right direction there. Obviously, Struthers and who is it? Gerard have new coaches. Coach Ritz, just a legend in the game. Coach Bornemus at Gerard, great history and great knowledge of the game. So those are teams that we got to figure out a little bit, but expect to be real competitive and competing for the league. Hubbard, Coach Manzo kind of came in middle of the season last year, and they're going to be competitive, and they really bought into what he's doing. And Lakeview's young. Coach Haney does just a terrific job there. He's one of my favorite people to talk to, and they're going to compete for a league title. And we'll figure out where we're at in that mix. And I think every night's going to be a battle, and you're going to have to take advantage of chances you get to get wins because they're going to be tough to come by. And we'll see if we can't knock a couple off, and see when Coach Blanche and I get to go against each other what happens in that matchup.
Coach, don't want to skip over the roster section because there are a lot of new faces on this team, and I know there's a lot of girls that might not even be new faces, but stepping into bigger roles. So I want you to go over your team, give us an introduction to who the Raiders are going to look like this year, and some of the names that we need to know before Game 1.
And that's one of the reasons why I think we're ahead of where we were at this time last year, because we have 7 returning letter winners. 5 actually girls that started at some point last year. So, we lose 2 seniors in Evan Taylor that are going to be tough to replace. But we have girls that in different situations started and played a lot this year. And we have 4 seniors, Devin Sauerwein, Maddie Dato, Sydney Pennick, and Olivia Yeagley, who we're going to really rely on for their leadership and their experience. And you can tell at practice that they're seniors. Some of the stuff that we do that they're just comfortable with and able to handle. So excited for what they bring to the table, and athletic and fast kids. So they'll kind of show the way for our younger girls. And Cece Foster's a junior who had to sit out the second half of last season, but expecting big things from her. Giada Pauline's banged up, got a foot injury, so we're hoping to get good news on her and get her back in a month or so to get her into the rotation. A couple sophomores, Taylor Dato and Gwen Lowry, started playing really significant varsity minutes at the end of last season for us. So they're in a full-time varsity. And again, great young kids, and expect a lot of them. We're going to ask a lot of them. A lot of our success is going to be based on how well our younger kids perform. Heidi Bartel is another sophomore that we're really excited about. She's going to kind of split some time and run the show for our JV team, but she's going to play some valuable minutes on the varsity level because we see a lot of potential in her, and she's figuring out that she's a basketball player. I think surprised herself a little bit, but we're proud of her. Freshman Sophia Lucente is really just had a terrific offseason and bought into our program. So that's a freshman that we're going to trust early, and she's going to have to play a significant role and significant minutes for us. And then our younger kids, our JV team, I'm so happy with them because a week and a half ago when we started practice, I kind of scratched my head. We got some work to do here, and they've just done a terrific job. And Kiara Winter, Katie Dance, Lily Lutz, is new at our school, Bella Smith, and then freshmen Haley John, Kensington Scott, and Lila Angus are all going to be part of our program and part of what we do on a daily basis.
When bringing these girls back that have now a year of full varsity experience under their belt or more, is it more about refining the skills they already have and the sets, or do you teach them new things because of the knowledge they have, or somewhere in the middle with a balance?
Yeah, it comes somewhere in the middle. Obviously, I think when you find out what they're good at, you want to focus on that. Like I said earlier, we're looking at trying to enhance our strengths and fix our weaknesses. So when we see things that we're not real good at, it's certainly something that we're going to spend some time on and work on getting fixed and improved. But definitely also want to take what we're good at and do that the most.
We've already talked about your conference. Who are some non-conference teams that pop up on your schedule that you're really excited to go up against and test your girls against?
Another season where I'm really proud of the non-conference schedule we put in, and we've got different types of teams. We got teams that have some size. We got some teams that are quick. We play some teams that go fast. We play some teams that slow it down. I was actually looking at this yesterday. I put some numbers down. It didn't surprise me, but kind of opened my eyes a little bit. So in my 4 years here in the non-conference regular season, we are 12-19. And, we always say that we want to play our non-conference schedule to prepare us for the league, and then kind of both to get ready for the tournament. And, 12-19 non-conference, well, what that's led to is we're 46-10 in the NE8 and 10-4 in the tournament. So that's why we put that schedule in place. And, it's going to be a grind, and I don't know that there's a lot of wins out there for the teams we have to play because they're really good teams. The 10 teams we played non-conference last year, all 10 of them had at least 10 wins last year. 9 of the 10 had winning records, and their combined record was 168-80 last year. So our non-conference schedule is no joke.
Raiders never shy away.
One of the best times of the year, I think every basketball season is the South Range Holiday Hoops Classic because of just the laundry list of teams you guys are able to bring in, the laundry list of games that are occurring. What does it mean to you that your school and this program's able to be a part of it, but also have the school host such a very cool hoops tournament?
Oh, I agree. I love those 2 days, and we're fortunate as the host that each day we play the last game. So I just get to go sit in the gym and watch a lot of good basketball all day. And some of the best teams from the state are there, and some of the best coaches that you get a chance to talk to and pick their brain and learn a little bit, and some players that you're going to see playing at the collegiate level next year on most of those teams that are coming. So it's fun. It's good basketball. Gives us a chance to showcase our awesome facilities. Brand new gym floor this year. Athletic department really stepped up and helped us there. Did a beautiful job with that. So it gives us a chance to showcase that. And then, at the end of each day, and this year it's Ursuline and Springfield, two teams that we love to compete against, that we get to play in that tournament. So kind of put a bow on that and have a really fun 2 days of basketball.
How proud are you that teams that either have been there last year or even took a year off last year but have been there in the past are coming back to this tournament because they liked how much you ran it and they liked how much the South Range community showed up for you guys? What does that do for you as just the coach of this program to know that coaches want to come back to that event?
Well, Coach Farron deserves the credit for that. He's done such a great job of that. And this thing started a lot smaller than it is now, and just done a great job in getting some good teams in it early that, now it's to the point where he doesn't have to pick up the phone and call people to fill it. His phone's ringing and he's turning teams away because we're already full. And it's exciting. And, for us to be a Division III team and have all those schools come down there, and, the coaches always, seek Coach Farron out, seek myself out, introduce themselves. It's led to some relationships and some chances for some scrimmages and things where, we can text and call each other and figure stuff out. So selfishly, it's been beneficial for me just to help put a little bit of a spotlight on our program and help us in what we do.
I have one final question for you, but before we get to that, I do want to ask you about your staff to give you a chance to highlight who's going to be helping you out this year with the Raiders.
Yeah, I've got to be the luckiest coach in Ohio. Brock Miller and Troy Scott are our junior high coaches, and they've been with me since day one. And Brock's a teacher at the school, and he's from down around the Cincinnati area where he went to high school. And we were lucky enough to hire him as a teacher a few years ago. And sports guy, smart, really knows his stuff. And the school kept wanting him to coach, and every year he told them no. And I was friends with Troy Scott before that. And they're actually brother-in-laws. They married, their wives are sisters. So, I reached out to Troy and I said, hey, what do you think the chances of getting Brock to coach are? And he said, I don't know. And, kind of an old business trick. I said, well, what if you two do it together? And, we went out, have some food, talked about it, and we got them in. And they're both so great fathers, great friends, and really understand our program. And I'm fortunate because they teach the kids, the same thing we're teaching in high school. So when they're 7th grade, 8th grade, and then we get them at the high school level, they know what we're doing. They know our drill. So it's a seamless transition. And then Kaylee Luckland's been with us through it all too. And she's not going to coach on a sideline per se, but she's been huge behind the scenes with fundraising and setting up our charity work. We're going to Leonard Kurtz for a Christmas party. We're going back to Baylor Management to serve Thanksgiving lunch. We're going to be at Fairhaven playing basketball with their awesome students. So, she's been really instrumental in getting us out in the community, doing our charity work, and then kind of helping us do the behind the scenes paperwork that's no fun. And then varsity level, again, just so lucky. Lauren Pavlansky, Coach Pav, our JV coach / varsity assistant, just awesome knowledge for the game, awesome passion for the game. Obviously comes from a long lineage of coaching and understands sports. And she connects so well with the girls. And I remember Coach DeShields talking in his interview about how he did volleyball and how it was kind of good cop, bad cop. And when he was volleyball coach, it got reversed. And so Pav and I are really good at that, good cop, bad cop. And the girls connect with her, and they know that if there's something they need to talk about and it's something they're uncomfortable talking to me about, they can go to Pav. And so brings our team together, and she just does a tremendous job for our program. We're really lucky to have Coach Pav.
Coach, my last question for you before Ty hits you with his last. Last year, it was you had some tough times, you had some good times, but definitely the tough times of last season. I want to ask you about coming into this year and what that kind of taught you, because it was the first season for South Range in a while where it was kind of a tough year for South Range. They did have to accept some losses. So experiencing that and trying to bounce back from that, what did it teach you coming into this year?
Yeah, it was not a fun off season for me. That kind of sat in my stomach, and I thought about it a lot. And one of the most important things I think we did was to adjust right away our off season program. This is, since I've been here, was our best off season program. June, we loaded it up, summer league and camp and some open gyms. And then July, we kind of put back on the girls and say, hey, you gave us everything in June. July's on you. And, they signed up for themselves. We had 7, 8 girls in the gym shooting 4 nights a week the whole month of July. So, and that's why we're further ahead this year than we were last year, because we had a lot more intense and focused off season. And so, again, with our schedule, I don't know that I anticipate us to have a record that makes people say, oh, wow, this team's really good. But I think when you look at the competition we play, and if you were to break us down, it's going to be a good basketball team this year.
Final question for you, Coach. It just goes back to the love of the game, right? It's the theme I'm asking all coaches this year. It's that love of the game that keeps us coming back each and every year, no matter our role in the sport. Where'd the love of the sport of basketball begin for you? You have an earliest memory, a pinpoint moment, a time frame.
Yeah, Ty, I've kind of cheated on this because I've watched some of the other interviews you've done, so I knew the question was coming. And I don't know that I can pinpoint a specific moment where I fell in love with the game. I was an only child, so when I was a kid, basketball was a sport that was easy to go out, dribble and be able to shoot. It's hard to play football or baseball by yourself, but basketball, you can work on stuff. So it's the sport that I picked up earliest. And then I remember the end of my 7th grade year, when we had like our junior high sports banquet at the end of the year, our 8th grade coach was Coach Cook, Bob Cook, one of the best people you ever meet. And he came up to me after the banquet and he said, hey, I want you to have a basketball in your hand every day this summer, because if you put work into this game, you can be really good at it. And that was the first time that somebody really had planted that idea in my head that, basketball was something that I could be good at and could give back to me. So that's kind of where it really got to where I was really focused and into basketball. And then I've stayed with it. And, every coach will tell you, so I've been so fortunate through the years, the people I've met, the other coaches I've become friends with, that kind of help continue that love, because we get reminded every day of how special that basketball is, what sports are, what they mean to us, and the valuable lessons that they teach us when we go out in the real world. So love the question. And, as always, guys, I appreciate what you do for us.
Coach, we appreciate your time in the middle of the day, early morning, I should say. It's about 10 a.m. But thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. We can't wait to see you out there. When's your first game? When's the Raiders fans' first chance to see you?
Monday after Thanksgiving, November 27th. A really good United team comes to town, and they're going to give us one heck of a test. They're really good and really well coached. So excited for November 27th.
Coach, we'll see you in the Thriller Dome very, very soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.